Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Good. All right. Just let me know when I can start.
Yep, you're all set to go.
Oh, great.
Yep.
You're getting faster.
You're here earlier, so
Yes, sir. Blessed Lord's Day to you all. What a privilege it is to spend another Enduring to the End episode with you all. This is our program that we share together. And what a privilege it is to be with you all during this day of judgment, that we can encourage one another and tell our stories, God glorifying words of encouragement, Bible verses, and things that are going on during this time. So let's open up with prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this Lord's Day. Thank you, Father, for all the dear people that you've saved, that you've committed yourself to, despite our flesh and our wickedness and our fallen nature, that you would present us unspotted and blameless. And thank you for this Lord's Day. Thank you for the exciting time that we're living in. And thank you, Lord, that through your power, your people will endure, and they will be refined and purified and washed and robed and clothed by thee. And we thank you, Father, and thank you, Lord, that you've made us thankful. And none of this we can do on our own, and that your will, your perfect will, is being performed through your people. And this program, Father, could you please bless it and bless the dear people who take their Lord's Day to be a part of this program? And could you strengthen them individually, Lord, and help them throughout their various struggles, whatever they may be? And could it be, Lord, that this message would be reached to those far and near? In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. Welcome to another Enduring to the End program. I got to tell you, there's so many folks that are posting on Facebook or at least sharing what they're doing throughout the week. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. To all of you that are in this program, I really am so blessed to share and to listen to all of your stories and some of your postings and comments and private videos, statements. It's amazing that such a small group of individuals are doing so much. And I think you've all heard about the 860 AM station that hopefully will be starting June 2nd. And on Fridays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., there will be a live Q&A program on 860 AM, which is in the Pennsylvania tri-state region. This is monumental because there are probably folks turning the dial, hopefully trying to find a faithful ministry. I still do it. Even though I have e-Bible fellowship available, I still turn the dial on the AM station just to see what's out there. And if something sounds somewhat familiar or faithful. So can you imagine the tens of thousands of listeners, former family radio listeners that are in hibernation mode after May 21, were probably warned by their family, you better not bring up end times again. And or folks who were just embarrassed and are under siege. Maybe their family or loved ones may have threatened them to cut them off, or who knows. And at this stage in their life, they're just not ready to make themselves known that they still believe these things. So could it be that God would bless that station or program? And I'm not sure if all of you are aware. Hey, Carl, do you think that 860 AM program you can listen live via internet?
I'm that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Let's check it out. Is that okay if we try to check it out right now?
Sure.
All right, let's see.
It is a radio station. Yeah, a lot of radio stations they do have feeds online
Right.
these
Well,
days.
there's so much to talk about. After this, I'd like to know if anyone has anything they'd like to share, because I do have a couple of things that I've been looking at.
Yep. I do have a few website updates to share.
Okay.
That you can take a look at.
W, it's WWDB, I think, and it's in Ballackinwood. Let's see. You know what? Maybe. Okay. Yep, this is it. So, Carl, I think it would be nice to have a featured image here like this. Maybe we can have Chris with the Bible, like an image here.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if they mentioned that,
Yeah, they might ask for it.
the Barry Reisman show. He gets something like that with Chris smiling with a Bible. That'd be nice. Oh, good. So as you can see, this particular website has a lot of religious and an elderly kind of catered community, from gardening to medicine to uh, audiences that seem to be a lot more mature. So this is going to be very interesting. All right. And there is a listen live button.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36%
Okay, I'm trying to
more
turn it off now and it won't. All right, so it does work. It comes through loud and clear. So that's good. So folks, you can listen in on that program. And let's just start with a Bible verse. Matthew chapter 24, I'll read verses 29 to 31. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's interesting. The powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And this is the verse I really wanted to highlight, which I think is what we're doing now. And he, that's Christ, shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So I don't know if that's an accurate statement, Guy. The gathering of the elect of the four winds, that still pertains to what we're doing now in our day. I'm not sure if you can unmute, Guy, but I think that's how I saw that verse. Is that what you're seeing too, sir? Okay, you got to unmute, sir, Guy. Okay,
Yes, I think so, the guy.
yeah. And that's an exciting thing. And when I think of enduring to the end and all of us passing out tracts and wearing our shirts, that's exactly what we're doing. And I always used to look at it differently. I was always afraid of man's face when I would have a tract in my hand. But, if we are truly one of God's children, we are commanded to gather God's elect across the four winds of the earth. So if you are feeling discouraged or um, a little self-conscious, perhaps you can pray about looking at it this way. We are sent to gather God's elect. So let's say you see someone who looks pretty affluent, or they look like they're a little rough around the edges, or if they have a demeanor where you might think, oh, that person goes to church. Who knows what thoughts we have in our mind? This verse really made me keep things focused on God as opposed to what I'm seeing with my physical eyes. Um, yes, Zoom user, please go ahead.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
Um, I mentioned to Chris during a Q&A last week that there would be some festivals in my neighborhood. And if it were be permissible for me to set up a table, which is what they do. A lot of them do, usually vendors. But in our case, I wanted to set up a table and use the banner and asking him, is that okay? Um, and he agreed that it would be fine and even suggested that I use some display some of the business cards and things like that.
Right.
And I wanted to know how I can get that banner, the big long one that at one time at one I think it was some Chinese cherry blossom. That's where I held that up for, took a turn to hold it up. How can I do that, get that banner so that I can do that?
That's a good question. We do have a 10-foot banner. It's actually right in this door right here that we just roll off and we get that done. However, it's quite heavy, and unfortunately, it's not stable. It takes a lot of like positioning where you would want to have it between either a tree or a pole, and it has to be held. And sometimes when it's windy, it can get little, as you know, sister, because you held it. I think it's at this stage, I think it's time that we have a budget for items like these. I don't know if we can all collectively just start a little group on our own and make lightweight, user-friendly type banners because more and more of these opportunities will present themselves. So let's see if we can start a small committee, get some approved artwork designs, and let's start creating lightweight polls and posters and and to get that done. But as far as a more immediate use, I'm in Pennsylvania right now, and I don't know if I'd be able to get this banner to you in time. Um,
Well, um, the first, there are 10 festivals this summer.
yes, I
And
saw your spreadsheet.
you did. Good. Oh,
Yes, I also
yes.
emailed you. Perhaps I'm not sure
I
if you
didn't get
got it.
an email from you.
Okay, it was loaded. Hey, Carl, am I in gallery mode? Not sure if you're there. Forgive me. You've been very diligent. If so, if you don't hear that, I can.
Hey, no, I'm back. I mean, I'm here. You're
Am
in
I?
gallery. You're in
Oh, great,
gallery. Yeah.
great, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, sister. So, just to let you know, I did send you an email. I said that's wonderful. I said we'll have to coordinate and let's see if we can get a table cover because I've been to those trade shows. I'm not sure if you ever been to those expos where there's like a
Yeah.
little that's set up. I'd like to get just a regular table cover just for your regular table with E-Bible Fellowship's website, perhaps a statement, an image, a logo, and that way when somebody walks, it's for those that are at a table. And then we can also create a banner, even made out of the same cloth. And that way it's lightweight, and then we can put a dowel on that too. I think we can get extremely creative with those kind of items. We could use a table cover and turn that into a banner. And I'm sure it would look fantastic now that I think about it. And I think we have some pros here in the chat that could speak to that. We could certainly create a banner out of a table cover, and that's extremely lightweight. It's going to look fantastic too. So now that you brought this up and we're talking about it, I think we can certainly do that.
That sounds great. What do you think we can do by the first festival that that I got approval for? You have to register and all, let everybody know,
Right.
what's the banner, what's your thing
Do
that
you
you're
have a
doing.
table? Do you have an 8-foot table standard, ma'am?
I have access to that. One sister has one, so she's saying, one EBF sister said she has one.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we went to the Polish festival today.
How was that? I think I have a video of that. Hold on. I think Miss Evelyn sent me a video.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, I have it here. Let me share my screen. We'll take a look. Now, were you just oh. Let's see if I can download it. So, sister, set it up for me. What was going on?
Um, there are, and for many years, there's been a annual ethnic or cultural festival held at the Kensico Dam Plaza.
Hmm.
And there people just come together who are, for instance, today was a Polish festival. They have wares, food, uh, some young people on the stage. It's outdoor and entertaining. So all we did was we walked all around and they handed out tracts, and the reception was pretty moderate. It was pretty moderate, and until we found out, oh no, you can't hand out those tracts unless you have a table.
I
So,
see.
and so we said, oh, okay. We'd already been around twice and handed out tracts. So it,
That's the
it
Lord. They say you've done your job.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And then only if someone stopped us and asked us about the shirt, because we had our shirts and hats on. And really, a lot of attention was given. So there is on the 31st, which is a Saturday, an Asian festival, and it's well attended. And I need Mandarin tracks.
I
And
have some that I can ship to you. You said it's next week, ma'am?
yes, the 31st of
Okay, so
May.
that gives us some time to
And
to
if
get.
you brought that, are if you're going to be at the Day in the Word, I could pick them up from there, and you don't have to ship them
Oh,
anywhere.
good, 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 good.
And
Yes.
I thought, now I think the idea of the tablecloth is great, because my initial thought was I would just get a flannel back white tablecloth, because the flannel back is more durable.
I understand. Yes, ma'am. So,
And
sister, if it's okay with you, perhaps we can set up a little committee and we can get some folks on this little committee that can help with projects like these. There's three other folks with their hands raised, and I think we may have to do a little more planning because you have quite a bit of events going on, and I think it would be good for us to really take advantage of some of those, like especially like the tables, or if you're going to have to carry the heavy things like that. So if it's all right with you, sister, um, let's table that that particular. But is there anything else you wanted to share besides
um,
that?
nothing other than I think Sister Candace wanted you to email her a PDF of the Mandarin. Uh,
Okay,
that's really all.
should be on the website because sometimes we do have issues with which version is the most updated. So we can try the website and let's see if we can go there quickly right now. Let's see. Because, I could make that error and get that wrong. So I would go on the website. I would see, let's first see all literature. I think languages would be better. And this is Mandarin right under Tongue Viet. And you have the tracks icon right here. And then we have it. We have Why is the World So Divided? I think this is Spiritual Judgment Began. But then this also says number one, and I can't make out what that says. But this is the Why is the World So Divided tract right here. And
That
this is
first one.
yes. And I think I'm like hitting the download button. Yep, here it is.
Is there more than one language that the Chinese speak, or is this their kind of like
Well,
general?
there's Cantonese. This is the what we call modern Mandarin, simplified Chinese. So now for business and so on, this is what people are using when they communicate. So again, go to language, English, Sesotho. I thought it was Lesotho, but this is Sesotho. You're going to see Tongue Viet here. And then right under that, these two characters here.
Uh-huh.
You click on that, and that's going to take you right to materials. This says booklets, I think. And I'm not sure what this is. But we got so many hands raised.
Okay.
And so, sister, thank you very much. I think Miss Candace also would like to ask a question to you. So thanks very much for that reminder.
Okay.
All right. May God bless you.
You too.
All right. Yes, Miss Michelle, please go ahead.
Oh, hi, Gary. Thank you for
Hi.
taking my call. Thanks. How are you guys? Thank you to everyone. Yes, I passed out some tracks today, and I was just thinking about what you were speaking on just before. And I found the reception is definitely getting a little stronger, I think. Like people are more willing to they want to know, like they're coming right up and taking it. And I mean, I'm still getting, I'm like everyone, like one person said, oh, blank, no, or what they just didn't want anything to do. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but they were,
Right.
yeah, they were like, no way, like keep that away. But then like most people want the tracks. And
Right.
one lady, actually, a young lady, maybe younger than me, but she came up and said, "What's this about?" And I actually, for the first time, told someone, "Well, it's about the end of the world." I didn't know what else to say because I felt like that was what it was about. And usually I don't go right there, but she wanted that track even after I said that. Because she
Right.
actually had to wait for me because she needed an English track. So she was patient and just because I was kind of like going through my pile there. And so I was really appreciative that she waited for a minute. But yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I think this is the video. I'm trying to see if I can rotate it.
No, that might not be the one with the certain lady, but yeah, my son captured a couple of. Are they upside down? I apologize
Yeah.
if they.
No, don't apologize. I'm in some kind of edit mode. Hey, Carl, you're a lot better than I am with this. How do I get this to rotate?
Oh, you want the, it looks like you have a pen turned on.
Yeah.
You
What
just got,
options? This is playback speed. This is picture in picture. This is the image. How do I get this to rotate?
you want the image to rotate?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Maybe it's fine.
Well,
'Cause
we don't see what you're seeing.
actually, she's right. Yo, you don't see my screen?
No,
How
we don't
about
see.
now? Oh, it
We
says
see
my
your
screen
screen.
sharing is being paused. Let me stop sharing and I'll reshare it. Okay. You should be able to see my screen now.
There we go.
All right. So the issue that I'm seeing here is that I see annotate,
Yeah.
remote control, show meeting,
So move
but
that away and then don't make it full screen the video. Take it out of full screen.
okay.
Go to the top where it click on the video and then go to the top where it says edit view. And yep, and then go to actually go to edit to
Flip horizontal. There we go.
not horizontally, but yeah,
Yeah,
like
I know. Flip vertical maybe or
no, I
rotate.
think you got it. Never mind. I think you got it right.
All right, let's give it a try. Thanks for your patience, everyone. All right, that's a good video.
Oh, thanks. I'll tell Daniel.
Oh yeah, we got a nice video there. So it looks like the gentleman really looked at your shirt. He looked at the track. He took his time. He just
Yeah,
didn't take it and just kept walking. He really seemed to pay attention to
yeah,
what we're sharing. He just didn't rush into it. That's
yeah.
great.
Observation. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's try this one. Let's download. Thank you, Carl. Now I
Yep,
know how to do these.
sure.
Oops.
Yeah. Rotate right. Okay. I need a little more practice. Rotate left. Rotate left one more time. You know what? I'm just going to do a horizontal, flip horizontal.
That
Let's
one,
flip,
that rotate left in that case. Oh,
rotate left.
yeah, rotate left.
Oh, right. Is this the one you want to queue up, Miss Michelle?
No, actually, Daniel missed the one that I was telling you about. I'm sorry. I
We'll
know.
have to give him, we'll have to give him a raise. We have to give him a raise if we. So tell me about this. What's going on here?
Oh, yes, that's with the children. They didn't really say too much. And then the gentleman that was with them wanted the track as well.
Oh,
Uh,
they're really looking at it. That's wonderful. They
yeah,
really, I mean, they're looking at it. They're really looking at the title and they're really looking into that. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
sure. You're welcome.
So what is it like? I think you were talking about going out today. What was on your mind and what made you really want to continue to go out there and go
Well,
tracting?
uh, I mean, I I pray about it first because I have my own problems, just like everybody else, and I have a lot of challenges going on with, my behavior. I must admit, like patience, having patience, because my son. Sometimes he wants to, learn about it, and sometimes he just doesn't. And I really got to, pray hard about that because I've been noticing my patience is getting shorter, but I shouldn't expect anything else because, as we're taught, like we're all wicked. I mean, the Lord teaches that every heart is wicked. Or I don't know if I'm sorry, I don't want to quote on, but you understand. So I mean, I just pray and and I'm grateful that the Lord is using me. That I'm able to do these things because He does show me. Once I push myself to just go and not think about myself and just think, well, this is your day, and I'd like to do what I can to help. And then He just shows me, and then you're learning as you're passing out tracks. I feel like you think I'm correct about that? I feel like we're learning. Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm learning so much more. The more I tracked, the less I'm thinking about myself, the less I'm putting the pressure on myself, thinking about me and the selfishness. And like you said, even if we're not having a good week, when you do track, you actually start, your week actually starts to have value. You know, if
Yes,
I was my week and I actually did something for the Lord, now I have purpose. Now I have value. Now my week isn't so bad, as opposed to just hoping that I stay out of trouble and just
right.
through life. Just eking my way through life. Well, I didn't have this particular problem, or I didn't get into a fight with this person, and I haven't done this, and so it's a totally different experience. And Carl is asking if he can share something, Miss Michelle. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Back to you again, a little bit later. So let's see. Sir Carl, please go ahead. Unless you sent that to me 10 minutes ago and I just
No,
read.
yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no, I wanted to just give a few website updates. I like this program because it does allow us to do that, and there's not really a place that I can really do that
Right.
because the website's growing. It's I hate to use the word evolving, but it's
They
more
hijacked. I never forget. I called a atheist program and I said, creation evolves. They kind of hijacked that word.
well, it did in the garden when God added all the thorns and the thistles, technically. But yeah, so if you're not aware, we try to keep up to date with different things. And this website started a lot more simply, and it just over the years we've been able to add more and more things, but at the same time remove some unnecessary things. Of course, Gary's showing you the Bible question finder, which is very helpful. That's almost done, I believe. But one thing I wanted
We're
to
just updating the fact to make sure that when questions are asked that they're refined and you actually get answers. So yes, we're working on that.
doing a bit of a quality check there. Um, and then I just wanted to mention too, Gary, someone informed me that the Philadelphia radio station will put our
I
content on the website.
file. Yeah. Do we
Yeah,
have an idea of what it's going to say? Are we giving them exactly what or
I'm sure they would ask what we want, and we can probably give them a thumbnail of what we want. So, but yeah, we actually have this new page on the website. It's ebiblefellowship.org/countdown. and it's a countdown to 2033. No specific date, but it just I think it really helps to put the time and perspective that we have left. And as you can see, we're at the 7-year mark in 10 months. So we're going pretty quickly through the year. Or you can look at it in days, 2,887 days, 5 hours, 57 minutes, 55 seconds. And then we have a verse that says, "For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off." And you know, time is flying by. I remember before May 21, I think 2004 was the 7-year mark. Maybe it was 2005. And I remember that's when the date of 2011, I think, came out, or Mr. Campion was really trying to push to get the information out. And just to think we're almost 7 years away from 2033.
Hmm.
So this is kind of a nice reminder. And then also we have this, let's see, you can send people to this page, say check out this page, and it kind of advertises the year there. And then if you look down, because sometimes you'll hear Chris say, well, it's 23 inclusive years and 22 actual years. Well, the inclusive years is when you count 2011 as the first year. And this note explains a little bit about that. It says 2011 was when Judgment Day began, and that year had about 5 months of salvation and the remaining about 7 months of Judgment Day. Therefore, we can count inclusive years from 2011 to 2033 and get 23 years. So you get 23 years if you count 2011 all the way to 2033. Now, if you type in on the calculator 2011 plus 22 years, you get 2033. The calculator is trying to count the next year, 2012, right? But technically, we could count 2011 because this year still occupied 7 months of Judgment Day. So that count is biblical. And then we also have the 22 actual years. So this is when it starts with the year 2012, which is the first full year of Judgment Day. And it ends in the year 2033. And you'll see that it's the year 22. So that would be the 22-year count. Where over here you have year 23. That's the 23rd year count. So, but yeah, just thought I would share that with the countdown. Again, that's ebiblefellowship.org/countdown.
If this is really helpful, Carl, because we tried to do that in the past, and I would tell my friends that we have like 7 point something years to go. They'd be like, "What are you talking about, man? We got 8 years to go." And it says, "No, it's not. It's not eight. It's not a clean 8 years. It's 7 point whatever." And I think this is really good because you know we don't want to turn on the afterburners so close. We want to do that now. We want to stay because tomorrow is not promised to me. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And it would be really good for all of us to ask the Lord to teach us to number our days. And I think this is a good application of that.
Yeah. It's actually even less time. It's 7 months. I had selected a particular date, but I just have it going to the beginning of the year. So it's
Oh,
actually 7 years, 7 months. But
let's not get these dates wrong.
no, I had changed it. I had uploaded an older copy, but I'll make a correction to that.
Yeah,
So it's even less time than what you're seeing there, but just about the same. So 7 months and 7 years and 7 months. Um,
it's even
yeah,
less. Yeah.
and then if you go onto the website on the side, we have this new page. I've had this up for a bit of time, but if anyone's not aware, if you click images and you recall the signs that we had in with the Argentina trip, we had printed these signs out. Well, you can actually download these signs and print them, take them to a local print shop like Staples and ask them to print them for yourselves. And we're just calling them pole signs. These are the ones where you can stick the poles through the signs and get a double-sided sign.
So we could actually use these for the table covers that Miss Beatrice was talking about. We could actually, if we go to Amazon and they say, put your logo here, are these PDFs, JPEGs, or
These are PNG files, which work just the same as PDFs, pretty much.
okay. What's the
They're
storage? Because I know there's like a limited amount of storage, like 4 MB. Can you just quickly click on it and see what is
well,
the
yeah. I
storage?
mean, I'd have to download it. These are high resolution, so you just click it to download it. It's gonna go in your download folder.
What's the storage amount?
It's pretty big. Let's see. This one's 1.5 MB.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's high resolution, so
Anything
you're gonna
above
get it.
4, anything above 4 is not going to work. So that should be
Yeah.
fine.
This is a type of sign that can be stretched out a bit, and then you'll see that has little hole points. That's where you would drill the holes.
Hmm.
So you know not to drill through letters. Like over
You
here, you can see the
you put
dots
that
there.
on the poster. Would those shaded holes actually be on the image?
They'll be on the image, but we made them pretty like
Yeah, they're not
noticeable.
easy to see. Yeah, they're
If you're
not
gonna
easy.
put the screws through and use it on as pole signs, which these ones are intended for that, and you're not gonna see the holes.
But if
If
we got a table cover, that image can be transposed or interposed onto the table cover. It wouldn't take up the whole table cover, but it could be at the top and on.
maybe it depends on the if you mean like a tablecloth.
Yeah, so when you go to a trade show or you go on an
Yeah,
event,
you could probably do it. It's not necessarily designed for that, but it's a square image, so you could definitely probably put it on a cloth, and I
they'll
think it
let you
would.
put on the whole thing. They just like a logo, they just center it for you. So yeah.
Right. And then we have the Spanish copies here, so you can download the Spanish ones. We got the QR codes.
You can also make stickers out of these, right?
You can make stickers out of them. Yeah, you just give them to your local Staples and see what they can do. These ones are rectangle shape, so these work well for signs, lawn
You
signs.
can
You
make
can use it for
two-sided
that.
business cards out of these too.
Yep. You can make them both two-sided. We have front and back, so this would be a front, this would be a back, this would be a front, this would be a back. You can mix and match. Maybe you want this one to be the front, maybe you want this one to be the back. This one gives like a little bit of a timeline proof for 2033 with the
That's all.
Jubilee years and then with the lineup of this 40-year pattern for each of these. So it's a little more detailed. This might be better for a standing sign so people can kind of absorb this information. And then we also just have a more simple one, Babylon, this world has fallen. Everyone helped to destroy another, and you can print out the backside. Christ took over the kingdoms of this world from Satan. It's a pretty simple message. And then we have square signs. So these are just somebody had asked me to help put together a sign that he could put inside his car. So a pretty simple one about 2033. So we have
I
these.
like that. I could get those as stickers and I could go to the city and I could just post those on abandoned buildings and where there's lots of
Sure. Yeah. And
um,
these QR codes will take you right to the website. We have a new website called ebf2033.org. And it's right now it's functioning just to redirect you. So if you type in .org, I got to type it on a new incognito window because my browser's catch. Oops.
just also you could get a large sticker and you could put it on your water bottle. A lot of people they look like they are like those hippies with their water bottles. You could put a Judgment Day sticker on your water bottle
You can put it
and
anywhere, anywhere.
you could take it to work
Yep.
and they're like, "What's that all about?"
Yep.
You know, and you don't have to say a word. It's like, I can't tell you. You got to check it out, you know.
Yep. Anything you can think of, you can
It's a
make them.
great conversation starter. Yeah.
Now, ebf2033.org will take you to our regular web page here. In the future, we may do something a little different with the domain, but it takes you to our website. ebf2033.com works as well, but I'm still working to redirect the domain. So for right
Okay.
now, we just have the .org, and then yeah, so that works there. It's a little more simple. It's easy to remember. EBF 2033, right? And then we have the backside to these. So again, this is like a timeline, a little bit of the biblical timeline of history on the back that shows important dates, and every 1,000 years
Yeah.
starts this pattern with the timeline pattern begins, timeline pattern ends. And then we have just a different variation. So you can kind of show the first world, which lasted 6,023 years. The second world lasts 7,023 years. And so there,
Whoever put cal.years, they people don't know what that means.
yeah, you might have, but even if you put calendar years, they may not know either. So you'd have to
Right.
explain either
Better
way.
than cal years, like California years.
We can update that. And then this
Yeah, not being critical. This is very, I would
yeah,
just be
no,
great.
that's fine. These are experimental. We may come out with more official designs, but they're up here for now.
That's
This
very
QR code actually takes you to the timeline page. So it's a unique QR code that will take you um, to
specialized site.
yeah, to the timeline page specifically. So If they want all the information for the timeline, they can go to that page. By the
Yep.
way, I want to give an update on that page as well.
And just know we do have four other callers in queue, so we
Yeah,
can always go back too. We
we'll
can
keep it
always.
brief. We'll keep it brief. Yeah. I'll wrap it up here. These arrows, I added these because I know people are having a hard time scrolling.
Yes.
I'm still working on it. I got it to work with the left and the right arrows, but it messed up our homepage, so I just got to make a few more tweaks. But right now, the up and down arrows work, and I'll get these working again, the left and the
Here's
right.
the thing: if you have a mouse, I have a laptop, and I couldn't toggle very well. But at the bottom of the web page, there was an underbar and a top bar that I was able to toggle through. So
Yeah, this will make it really easy. All you have to do is click the buttons. It follows you, so it doesn't matter where you are on the timeline.
right.
You click the buttons, it'll auto scroll for you left and right, up and down. So once I get this fully functional, I think this will give a lot more people the ability to check it out. The
Yeah,
top
the
page.
best. This is one of the best tools, and I love John Helf's intro to the biblical timeline. It's really well done. Really well done.
Yep. Yep,
Very-
yep. And then finally, we have the design for the shirts. Again, this is experimental. We might come out with a more official design, but we do have 2033 for surely there's an end. And again, we have a QR code. We have a backside. So this is also a backside right here. Backside to the shirt. This would be the front. So it's
Yeah,
pretty.
maybe some QR codes could be on the shoulder too, or the
Yeah, it
Bible.
could be. You really want it where your shirt's not going to get stretched and it's easy for somebody to scan.
Not to mention the blue and white's nice, but you might need a little bit more green or something that like we had before the website.
Yeah. Yeah, with the colors it's a little tricky because you don't want to give with colors there's you got to go with things that are easy on the eye and also if you have too many colors going on that can serve to distract a person. It's just how, you'll see a lot of businesses when they make billboards, they're very careful on how they select colors, words, everything. That all makes a difference. I know we're not trying to necessarily lure people with the design and stuff, but it's
Don't worry. We'll argue after the show.
a little more easier on the eyes. All right, I'll let you take back over.
We'll argue about marketing and design and what works best. But yeah, this is really good, Carl. Thanks for putting that up there.
Miriam asking the questions, why a second site? I just want to touch upon that. Um, the URL for eBible Fellowship may be easy for us, but it is kind of long. Most companies will always try to get the shortest domain possible. A
That's right.
domain like or one that's easy to remember, like Monday.com. Everyone knows the day of the week, Monday. No one's gonna forget that, right? Or you just have like a 3-letter word or like Apple. It's a 5-letter
Yeah,
word,
we call that barrier to entry. So
right?
if someone doesn't find something easy to use, it discourages them, it turns them away, and just that's just our human nature.
And it's
If you
also to advertise 2033 with EBF 2033. We couldn't get 2033.com. It was taken, but EBF 2033, it's a lot shorter and it's not taken.
That's why when you go to the checkout aisle, they put all the candy at the bottom, right by the register, and they put all these to-go things because it's just so easy for us to grab, and that's how it is. And they've really figured it out. It's a science. But this is the gospel, but at the same time, if something is hard to type or if someone gets the wrong typo, these things could just be further discouraging for folks that want to get to this information.
Yeah. By the way, with the signs and stuff, eBible Fellowship isn't providing the signs or anything like that. Anytime we post images or things on the website, resources, we're just putting it out there so people can get them printed themselves. And I know somebody
Right.
did because I had put images up on the website and I saw somebody at the one of the conferences had taken my images. I didn't even know somebody was looking at them and had printed them on like a backpack. So, they're just designed to just at least have those resources available so that they can print them themselves. But at this time, we're not, eBible Fellowship isn't offering free material in regards to signs and stuff like that,
Right.
unless they say otherwise, unless we post it on the website, such as business cards, tracks, those things. But any items that are not offered as free materials, these would just be kind of up to the listeners to get them printed themselves. But we do at least want to offer the images so that they're able to do that.
And just remember too, if you are struggling, perhaps you have a like-minded friend here on this program that you can call or email and say, "Hey, this is what I'm planning on doing. I'd like to get one sign." And I think I did a video in the past. You can make your own cardboard sign for under $10. And but if you want a color image, Staples will charge you a lot more. But if you get those particular images and you do it in black and white, you can get blueprint copy paper, which is about $2.50, and you can get a 35 by a 40. So if you're really on a very tight budget, you can do that in black and white, and who knows, God can bless all of these endeavors. So if you have a like-minded friend or someone here that you know of, you can definitely collaborate. That's what I'll be doing with Miss Beatrice. I'm going to collaborate with her. We're going to come up with some ideas and see, well, what's the budget? What are we working with? And how we can accomplish this with our own resources. And that happens a lot. It happens a lot. And that's how we make our bodies a living sacrifice, because that's what money's for. Money is not there to just look at it and to feel secure and say, take thy knees. I got a couple of years. I'm gonna sit good for the next 7 years and 7 months. Now we want to utilize these resources because God gave it to us. Just like our health. One of the biggest resources that God has given me is health. So if you see me running around and jumping around, I'm a big spender when it comes to my health. I'll be jumping and carrying things and running around. So thanks, Carl. And Miss Candace, yes, please go ahead.
Hi, Gary, just a couple things briefly. Thank you, number one, for pointing out exactly which one of those tracks on the Chinese website was a divided track, is what we were trying to figure it out, because I'm like, well, I could just download it, but I wasn't sure. So that's number one. We're trying to, we went over some numbers that we might need, and how it usually goes is, once we figure out what we need, I'll put together an email and send it to the printer to get a quote, and then get that and see if I can get that quote approved, through EBF, right? So if you could just do me a favor, you get a chance, just try to get an idea of how much of those Mandarin tracks that you can spare for her. That would help, because I'm trying to get that done probably this week.
I have about 100, 150. If I don't,
Okay.
it would be about 50 to 100.
Okay. Okay. All right. And the other thing is that, if people know also, I'm an insurance agent, and I do different venues, fairs and things. And I have a very lightweight tablecloth with our logo that is silk screened on it. And I was thinking that, that solves that problem. If you could get like a polyester tablecloth or something cheaper with our logo silk screened on it. It's nice and lightweight. It can be folded up. You know what I'm saying? And it fits those tables. Usually that's the standard table at either, some sort of a venue like a fair or a flea market, so that might work.
We have this is going to be this is like a new revolution. Those table covers, they look really good. And the silk screen,
Mm-hmm.
if you get a
Yeah.
black background with some of those EBF images, and we get a wooden dowel, and I think some of our friends here are very good at sewing. They could reinforce the wooden dowel that we wrap there, reinforce both sides, and now we have a cloth polyester type nylon banner that's
Mm-hmm.
light, easy to hold, and I think it will be a massive game changer in how we do our witnessing, because we'll be able to use a table cover as a potential banner. It's still a work in progress, but I think we need to try it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. So
Thank you, Miss Candace. I appreciate it. And yes, Lord willing, at the Day in the Word this Sunday, I'll be bringing those tracks, so that'll give you some time to see how much you'd need to print.
thank
And
you.
they're by 11. They're 8.5 by 11, so they're not the 14 inchers, legal paper size.
Okay, so 8.5 by 11, so I think that's A4. Is that
Oh,
A4?
it's just folded
Yeah.
one. Just like a little, mini.
Yeah, I believe that's the A4 size. I have also, I was telling B, I sent her actually the regular PDF for Arabic, and I noticed the numbers were on the bottom. And then when I checked, I said, okay, wait a minute, I have the one that is numbers with the page numbers. They're A4. Because remember, we use those in Paris. But I don't think that's an issue for the printer. He can just reformat it.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. That's good. Good to know, sister.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, someone says no, A4 is not 8.5 by 11. It must be something else, but 8.5 by 11 is your standard, and
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll work out. Thank you very much.
okay.
Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi.
I am calling because I wanted to know my sister and I, Miriam, are going to Ethiopia for a month or so, maybe. And we wanted to get e-Bible fellowship shirts. Like for those of you who know, I helped Tony build the shirts with Carl. So do we need to get, we don't have an Ethiopian translated um, um, t-shirts yet, like the verbiage that goes on it. So once we do we need to show it to you guys to get it approved before we can wear it? Or like, how does that
No,
work?
no. I mean, I'm so glad you brought this up. eBible doesn't mind us making our own tracks or our own whatever, as long as we're not using their website. But since you're going through eBible Fellowship, what we can do is we can email the request and say, and I think we just talked about this last Enduring to
We
the
did.
End.
It was last week. That's why I brought
Right.
it up because someone had, I think it was
Right. So this would be a
yeah.
request where we will engage with eBible and we'll state, hey, we're planning on going to another country. We are planning on passing out eBible Fellowship tracts. We would like to have a translated gear, and who can we work with and get the process started. So yes, that's exactly how it should be done. In terms of artwork, sister, are you able to
Yeah, Gary, I don't know if you remember me, but I was working with you, Carl, and
oh,
Tony.
yes, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
Tony. So I'm basically a graphic artist. So I can, and
right.
the stuff that you guys are asking for, like, for what Carl is putting up there, which, so grateful for Carl, all the things that he does for this fellowship. But, it's like you just turn them into step and repeat patterns. So if someone needs help, I'm a graphic artist too, so I can help with that stuff. But we wanted to make sure because I had heard this and I told Miriam last week when we were discussing this show from last week. And I said, I think we need to show them at least. So, okay, we can send out
Yeah.
an email. We'll do that.
If you want to streamline the process, given your background, if you have PDFs ready to go with your email request, I think that would save lots of time.
Yeah, because the ones that I did for, when working with Tony, so I basically get it art studios, like art ready for him to send to the printers. So, and another thing, I know somebody had asked earlier about, I think it was you actually, about color. When you're printing anything, especially if it's t-shirts, it's a little different with inanimate objects, but with like t-shirts, they when you're doing a screen or your transfer, if you have more than like 3 colors, then they charge you up charges. So that's why we always kept it to like maybe 3 at the most, because then the more colors you bleeds in, the more expensive it gets.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, eBible, we're bargain hunters.
I think everybody's a bargain hunter now.
That's right. That's right. And may God bless you on your trip. I would love it, sister, if you could kind of journal some of the encounters, what it was like, the climate, the setting, the people,
I'll
any.
try. I mean, my sister's much better at this stuff. I mean, I've only been on 2 tracking trips. The first one was in 2011 it was just amazing. And then the second one was with you and Tony and the whole
Oh,
eBible Fellowship crew that came up to Boston. And I mean, my sister pretty much pushed me to do it, but I ended up just really loved working with Tony, just an amazing man, and all of you guys, So tracking, it doesn't come easy for me. I think it's just an odd thing to do. It really is for me. I'd rather just like hand something out and not have to talk to them. But I'm learning little by little. So if I can wear a t-shirt with Miriam, I think that will help us.
Yes, I'm right there with you, sister. I'm very cerebral. I overthink things,
Yeah, I
and
remember. I remember our conversations.
very awkward for me to just abruptly stand in front of someone and say, "Here," I totally agree with you. But nevertheless, we do it because we love our fellow man. Just like in Deuteronomy, Christ loved the people, and we are commanding. That's what you're doing right now as well, getting these shirts ready to engage with folks.
Yeah, and it's encouraging to hear everybody and the stories that you hear and how people are going out by themselves. So, just trying to do our part as well, I guess. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. We definitely have some. I was going to say the word commandos, but I don't know if that's spiritually appropriate. But you do have some folks that are going out on their own. They're taking pictures of themselves at the airport. They're taking pictures of themselves in their car. They're taking videos of themselves, in the mall. And I think, Carl, you had an encouraging story. So after Salvador, maybe you can tell us that story. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. One more time.
All right.
All right.
Gary, I do have a Bible verse that I would like to share for all those that don't wanna hear any more about the end times. It's Acts chapter 6, verse 13, 14, and 15. It says, and set up false witnesses which said, these men cease not to speak blasphemous words against this holy place in the law, for we have heard him say that this Jesus of Nazareth shall destroy this place and shall change the customs which Moses delivered us. And all that sat in the council, looking steadfastly on him, saw his face as he had been the face of an angel. So they want to hear a little bit more about the end times. I went to the AT&T store to do my business, and this gentleman saw me with my T-shirt, and he says, the end times, huh? And I say, yeah, 2033 is around the corner, only 2,000 years from the crucifixion and from the resurrection. So they definitely watching and paying attention. So
Great story. And you were just going to about your business and you had the shirt with you.
yes,
I'm telling you, they cannot help it. They cannot help it. They have to say something.
right.
And brother, I tell you, I'm so blessed to have you as a friend and to hear your story. Oh, you had the QR code.
Yes, and it's in Spanish. So all these brothers and sisters that went to Argentina, let's not forget to use these babies because we have a 24/7 Spanish web player now. So it's good to show him, and the other side it sends you straight to the open forum at 8 o'clock.
So how exciting is this that we are all here in this program? And this is before the whole world is aware of this. At some point, everyone, this program could be much larger, or e-Bible Fellowship could change in certain ways. And we are in that process right now where God is using this ministry mightily. And here we are, this small group. And our endeavor best, in our waking moments, how do we get this message to the people? And stories like this. And I think you went to the gas station too, right, brother? You
For the first time, I was hesitating, and I say, oh well, let's try it. And I did walk to the gentleman and say, may I share this with you, sir? And he took it, and I was very pleased. But the next step was walk to the motorcycles, to the gentleman with the motorcycles. They look more intimidating, and I'm like, all right. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? They say no, right? And they all say no, but it's all right. At least I break the ice.
and just like you said, sir, in our mind, we're worrying what they're thinking is not what we're thinking.
Right.
They're
Right.
seeing someone boldly come to them with a message that it was so important that that person had to come to me. So in our minds, it's a totally different experience than someone else who's just like, wow, I wonder what this person wants. Wow. Oh, well, this is for me? Oh, thank you. And we're thinking so much. So please be encouraged, everyone. We all have different personalities. We all have different backgrounds, education, everything. But when you give out a tract, you look someone in the eye and you tell them about the doctrine and everything that we've learned. This is how we love our neighbor. And as we read in Matthew 24:31, God, the Lord Jesus Christ, is sending his angels to gather his elect to the four winds. And that's how we do it. So if you're at the gas station and just like me, I don't want to do it. But who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? What other ministry do you guys know that's out there that's doing this? So if
Yeah.
it's you, then who? You're in that town, you're at that gas station, you got tracks in your car, or you're out and about, wear your shirt. The least you can do, right? The
Right.
least you can do is just wear your shirt and your hat. Keep a hat in your car if you have one. If you don't have one, may it be by God's grace. It might be something on your goal to do. Maybe you can save up some funds and say, well, I'm on a fixed income. I only can save $10 a month or $5 a month. And you can prayerfully, you know, maybe in 1 year or 6 months, you can get the hat. And then that could be just I tell you, I wear my hat and I even wear it backwards. And I'm in the grocery store and my neck is burning because I know they're looking at my hat, or I have my e-Bible shirt on. And I'm like, I know they're reading my shirt. I just know it. So thank you, Salvador.
Sure.
Really appreciate it. I look forward, hopefully, to see you in the near future.
Yeah.
This coming up weekend is the Day in the Word, Sunday,
Yes. Yes.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe we can go tracting after the Day in the Word for folks that have the time. We do know that people fly in. There are people who are far away who drive, so they may not be able to do it. But
All right.
if you're in the area and you have the time and you'd like to do it, you haven't tracked in a while, and it'd be nice to go with some like-minded friends, maybe you can, get some of that extra time for yourself. So if you do come to the fellowship, maybe you're watching. I got to tell you, if you're on YouTube right now, there's about maybe 35, 40 people on YouTube. If you're watching, I'm talking to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to E-Bible Fellowship and the ministry. If you are in the program, please put in a comment, share something. If you have a question, call into the Q&A. Sometimes there's more people in YouTube than people in Zoom, but there's not a lot of folks who are watching. Maybe you're bedridden and you can't ask your question. So definitely understand that. Maybe you're watching and a loved one is actually putting on the program for you because you can't move.
We actually have 54 on YouTube, 11 on X, on Twitter.
Right. So there's 54 people right now on YouTube that are enjoying this program. Hopefully they're enjoying it. Unless your loved one is a like-minded believer and they're forcing you to watch it. But that's okay. I was a child too, and our parents do that. So young children, if you're being asked to watch this program, I was a young child too. Please, pray to the Lord and ask for understanding if the Lord is pleased to give it to you. Albeit the Lord having had mercy within the time frame that God is working in. Obviously, you have to be mindful of that. But if you're on YouTube, engage, you know, uh, ask a question, get involved. There's a little hyperlink that says ask your question on Zoom. I know there's not any young people on this right now. I don't we're all boomers and zoomers on this program, but we could use some young people. We could use your perspective. Maybe you have stories to tell. Maybe you're in high school and you'd like to share some of your stories living in the day of judgment while you're in high school as a senior or something to that effect. So please, this is an open invitation for folks. Please don't feel that you're not part of. We're all folks who need the Lord's strength. We're not strong on our own. This is all just individuals looking for strength from the Lord, declaring His message of judgment, which is This is His ministry. This is Christ's work. We are just vessels that God is using to proclaim His truth. bit of a rant there, but Salvador, that's great. Now, can we get another gas station tractor?
For sure.
Let's see if we can get someone else who's on this program. You're pumping your gas, give them a tract because this is how we encourage one another. There's a gentleman by the name of Vincent. I'm not sure if he's on the program right now, but Vincent's been putting out a lot of videos, and I've been personally encouraged by that. When Salvador goes to the gas station, I get encouraged by that. When I see someone taking a photo of themselves at the airport, I get encouraged by that. When someone's going overseas and they're asking for materials, or if someone's going, it's encouraging. And it all just keeps us focused in our minds on things above. And now we have purpose. Now we have meaning. Now we have value. Now we're living for Christ if we are his elect. And it's just exciting. It's only going to get more exciting as we go along.
7 years.
Yeah. Think about it. We are all, if we are sent by God. We are like the breaking news. We're the journalists here. We are the messengers. And when you wear your shirt, when you wear your hat, you're a messenger. And depending on your strength, maybe you can't stand at a street corner and have yourself exposed, maybe because of your background, your title, your standing in the community, and you cannot do that. But you can certainly wear a shirt. You can certainly put a tract or wear your hat backwards or frontwards, and you can wear a shirt or get some stickers. And there are stickers that are not the ones that damage. There are glass stickers made for windshields. So if someone is very upset that you're putting these stickers around, you can actually put them on windshields, and they won't be damaging to the material. So even if you did that and you put a sticker up and someone's like, "Hey, why'd you do that?" You can say, "Oh, I'm sorry." It comes right off. It's not even an adhesive. There's no adhesive to it. It peels right off. And you can apologize and just keep going on. So there's no serious harm that's done. Anything else you wanted to share, Salvador?
I just would like to ask Carl if it would be okay to make a booth. This is the feast of the Bible, so maybe get a permit and stand on one of those very crowded places and have a small speaker and the timetable in one screen and some table like you say with the signs and passing some tracks.
Actually, that gave me an idea. There's this giant park down here in Southern California. It's called Balboa Park in San
Ooh.
Diego. And you had all these tables set up. You have like a Muslim table, you have an atheist table, you have a Jehovah Witness table. And a lot of people just come to the park, but I'm sure they have something like this in Manhattan Park in New York and other places. But I'm betting if you set up a booth,
Yeah,
you put the signs and the information, the tracks, you might
right. Attract some
of
people
course, we
and
like to kind of go out there and
yeah,
maybe you should have somebody standing next to it handing out tracts because
yeah.
I notice you're just standing there in the corner. A lot of like Jehovah Witnesses, they do that and they kind of wait for people to come up to them.
Right.
A little bit of laziness, I feel like, but
Yeah.
I think it really sets us apart because I went to the mall with Vincent. This is the story Gary wanted me to share last Sunday, and I noticed just it's just very different when you're out there and you're handing out tracts and you're going up to people. It's just received so much differently than a Jehovah Witness. Like I walk through the mall and I see very few people going by a Jehovah Witness sign. Every once in a while you might have one person,
Mhm.
but as soon as me and Vincent had showed up, we were at a different part by the entrance and we just started handing out tracts and we passed out like over 200 tracts just within an hour or so. And they were just going out. A lot of people took them. And when you're offering somebody something, it's very different than you just standing in a corner. And, they weren't even in like a big area. They were kind of like hiding in a corner,
Oh,
you know.
maybe they believe in election.
Yeah, I think they probably think,
Not handing this out. You got to come to us.
well, even Muslims, there was a stand that said grab a free Quran. They do the same thing. They don't actually go out there and offer the information. And I think also too, there's a bit of as God's elect know that God saved a great multitude from every nation. And of course, they're all trying to convert, but it's just not the same, when you're going out there. And so I think you see people's faces and it's very different when they're being offered something, and you're going out of your way, walking 10 feet across, just to give them a track versus somebody just sitting in a corner. So it's very, very different.
Yeah, I see a Bible verse here, Luke 17:10 by Oliver. It says, "So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do." So think of yourself as a deputy. You've been deputized. If you're one of God's elect, you've been deputized. And can you imagine? You ever see those movies where the cop is eating the donut in the squad car? You just see people go, "Oh no, what? That's not us. We're active. We're walking the beat. We're on the beat. We're doing our duty. We've been ordained, and that's how we ought to look at ourselves. Are we in the squad car eating the donut, drinking the coffee? Is that the kind of reputation we'd like to have? As Carl just said, you have the people who are witnessing, they're not active. And could it be that God would strengthen us all with his power, not with our own will, not with our own efforts, because we can have that will worship, but if it's of the Lord, and we can talk to the Lord for that strength, it's really a blessing. Another verse, it says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." And as ants, we don't want to wait till the end. And now we're kicking it up, you know. That's it. It's very shameful, I would think. It's very shameful if we have this knowledge and we're waiting. Oh, I'm going to wait till 2033. Well, what does that says about me if I'm waiting till 2033 to get active? I'm going to see. Let's see what happens. I don't want to call that person a sluggard. That's a judge. That's a terrible thing for me to do. But if the scriptures are saying that person's being a sluggard, pluck thy hand out of thy bosom, we want to with the blessing of the knowledge that we have. Can you imagine
Oh, Jack.
the wealthiest person in the world doesn't have this information? The celebrities, you name it, whoever it is, the athlete, they have no idea about this stuff. And for the most part, they don't even care. And here it is that we have this information, and I'm pumping my gas. I'm like, I
I
don't know.
I I think Gary Hawaii said it best. I think he said something. It's well, they're not in this side. Yeah, we are in this side. That's the difference.
Yeah, I agree. And could you imagine if people could see with their eyes that this was the truth? They'd be ripping our arms off for this. We wouldn't be able to sleep. You'd be
True.
tracked. As soon as you get the tracks, they'd be going. The printers would be on fire, but that's
Yeah.
not how God set it up.
Yeah.
God didn't set it up that way. So, yes, sir, Carl, do you have anything else you wanted to share? Or
No, just I just thought I'd just wrap up this story. Yeah, so me and Vincent, Vincent, he's somewhat new to E-Bible Fellowship. But yeah, he lives not too far away, so we met up last Sunday. We went to there's a nearby mall. A
Mhm.
lot of people there, so we just stood out on the entrance, passed out tracks. He brought, I think, a few hundred stacks of tracks, and I met up with him a little bit after. I brought like a stack of 100. They're just leftover tracks from Argentina, English ones that we never passed out, so I put them to good use. So we passed out tracks there, and went very well. We had a lot of conversations, just a lot of younger people there. Um, got a lot of kids and teenagers and adults, all different ranges. It's a huge melting pot. Seems like whites are a minority here. A lot of Indians and Pakistanians, Middle Easterns, Spanish, of course. A lot of Russians and Ukrainians because of the war. A lot of them settled in this area for some reason, to escape. Um, and yeah, I had some pretty good, interesting conversations. One guy, he went up to me and he said, he's like, yeah, breaks my heart that people don't want to hear or talk about the Bible or the gospel, And then as I was handing tracts, some people weren't taking them. So he's like, see, look, you know, they just reject it. And uh and I
Feel
was
bad
like,
listening to that person, I'm sure, when that happened.
yeah, and I was trying to tell him about the end of the church age, and he said, I have never heard of that before, but I just felt like it was true. I don't know if he was just saying that to agree, but he was going to read the track. And then Vincent, I don't know if he's on here. He had a few good conversations as well with two younger teenagers, and then somebody else was asking him some things. And this other guy had come up to me. He just got out of this restaurant that was near the Cheesecake Factory there, and he asked what the track was about. And I said, we're just talking about the division. It's focused on the division in the world. And I forget exactly what I said, but he had asked, so do you guys have a date? Because I had
Oh yeah.
mentioned he flipped the track around and he's kind of quickly scanning through. He's like, okay, I see this May 21 date. I don't know if he read the track, but he seemed to be very well acquainted with it. So maybe Vincent had already passed out a track to him. And he said, a lot of people in the past, he didn't mention the no man knows or anything like that. He just said a lot of people have claimed to have had revelation from God. And I said, yeah, but how are they claiming to have revelation? It's always through a dream or a vision, like the Jehovah Witness, it was through some sort of the Mormons, the same idea. I was like, but we're not claiming any of this information is coming from some sort of external source outside the Bible, right? It's only within the Bible. He's like, yeah, but they also claimed to have information from the Bible, and no, it's their claim is if you look it up, it's always some sort of dream or vision, right? Yeah, they may agree with the Bible, but they're try to pair that with the Bible to try to because they know the Bible's true. I was talking to some Mormons when I went to Argentina, and they said, look, they're trying to show me their Mormon book. We have all the Bible verses next to each thing that was in the Mormon book. And so they're trying to attach, that to the Bible because they know the Bible is the ultimate authority. So that was their way of you know, a lot of religions do this. They try to use the Bible to basically justify, and support because they know it's the ultimate authority. The Muslims do it with the Quran. They say, the Bible, they have good things to say, right? Anyways, so he's reading the track, and I said that I explained a little about like the timeline in the Bible and things like that, and he was very excited about it, and he said he was going to read the track, so he took the track and went away.
Yeah. And didn't Oret say that a lot of people say the Bible is not translated or it has errors in it? And I think Oret said, how come they only say that about the Bible? No other book, you
Well,
know?
he said, why are they not trying? Why are there not so many editions of other books? I think he told that to somebody. Why is it that the Bible has been under such attack with all these different translations? Why aren't people trying to translate the Quran in 1,000 different ways?
Right.
For some sort of other religious book. And the fact of the matter is, he's right. It's a really good question. It's because, they're attacking the Bible because they know it's true. And that's how Satan has come. He knows where the truth is, so he attacks the truth. And then of course they'll argue, well, there's not so many translations like the Quran because that's the only it's pure. They try to
Pure
make
lie.
yeah they try to make that argument, but no, people aren't interested. This is why people rip up the Bible, because it pricks at their soul. The Quran doesn't do that, or no other religious book does that.
That's very true. And speaking of which, Carl, would you be able to gather some pictures? I think somebody went on I wouldn't say a secret mission, but like a solo mission to a very distant land that perhaps e-Bible or Family Radio has never set foot in. Perhaps they did. You think you might be able to get a few images of that before
Yeah,
we?
I can try to pull that up.
Yeah, so I think it was 19 hours away. This was an individual who, wanted to make a difference and prayerfully thought about going to a land where it was not easily found. And I think the majority language is Russian and Kazakh, right?
I believe so. Yep. Cause it. Yep. Okay, let me see.
See if I can find it as well.
Yeah, I found it here.
Great.
So here's some photos of soldiers that received the track. So this is not too far from Russia, in a place called Kakistan. I don't know if I'm
Kazakh,
pronouncing
like K-A.
Kakistan.
It's really like,
Kakistan.
yeah, it's spelled a little different, but it's Kazakhstan. And
Um, these ones are a few videos that
Oh, great. Very good videos, by the way.
mhm.
They almost look Asian.
Yeah, I think there's a Asian and Russian influence.
Right.
You can
Almost
see.
like Mongolian a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that 2033 image there. Is that like
Yeah,
a customized
you can see
track?
yep, you can see right here too.
Wow, look at that. That's so amazing. That's great. What a blessing.
And
Yeah,
they
so
Muslims, right, Gary?
I'm not sure if they're
That's a
what
great question because in those areas, you would think you would see the hijab or you would see the and I'm not seeing a lot of hijab people in these images, so I wish I could. Let me just see if I can quickly look.
yeah, so this you can see that this woman received a track. It's got 2033 date front and back. Same with these.
It says Kazakhstan, the majority of the population is Muslim, with a significant Christian minority. The census back in 2021 reports that 69% identified as Muslim, while around 70% identified as Christian. The remaining population includes those with other religious beliefs, those who do not identify with any religion, and did not answer the question. It's a secular state whose constitution guarantees religious freedom. So whoever went there looks like they did their homework. Good job. It's like folks waiting for the light.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's pretty much it. Just these photos and
Great.
also, I believe I saw somewhere on our e-Bible Fellowship page on Twitter, somebody who wrote in from this area of the world.
Hmm.
I just don't know. I'd have to find that, but
So folks, we're watching this program and you have somebody in a Muslim nation giving out tracts and we're at the gas station. We're like, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I can tract in the gas station. You have somebody in a Muslim country overseas, thousands and thousands of miles away. And yes, we all have our weaknesses, and some could be physical. Some of us could be bedbound, and obviously, I'm not asking someone to consider or pray about tracking at a gas station if you're bedbound, or if you're infirmed, or if you have other disabilities or anxieties. These are real challenges. Um, but if you could wear a "Why is the world so divided" shirt or a hat, you'll hopefully by God's grace be a prophet in your own country, maybe without honor, but at least you can witness in your areas as best as you possibly can. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share before we go? Let me see. Oh yes, Michelle, please go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Gary. I was just going to comment that I did meet a Muslim gentleman today too. And at first he said that he had all the information about his religion and the Bible. I think he meant the Bible in general, but it took a little persuasion. But I was able to get him to take the track. And he said, well, this is what I like to do. I like to read. So I'll go ahead and read it. But he didn't want to take it at first. It was interesting. But he stayed and talked for a couple of minutes. And then I realized, like, I guess we do have to maybe sometimes persuade people a little bit, like, I guess, feel it out. But do you think this is correct? I don't know.
I did the same thing. I don't know if Orette's on here. It was a freezing day. I mean, one of the coldest days in Washington, D.C. It was the inauguration. And all these officers were coming. And I don't know if I was just being too playful or not. And I said, I have an official message from the Bible that I'd like to share with you. And I said it like I was some kind of ambassador from another country. And they smiled like, this guy's trying to treat me like I'm royalty. So I just started talking to them as if I was a diplomat. I really addressed them in a very stately kind of way. And, I was trying everything. So yeah, sister, I think you're right. There has to be a little bit of respectful, what do you have to lose by reading something. If you say you study the scriptures, this is a very detailed study, a careful study from the Bible. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'd like to say that. I really do. Some people will ask me, why is the world so divided? And the first thing I'll say is, I'd like to hear from you first, because you never know. What if they actually have understanding, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also found that like some people that I frequent like a place and then they want the track again. So then I thought about it that maybe they're not, oh, I think we spoke about this on another Zoom program that, sometimes it takes time for them to gather the information maybe, and that we're like feeding some possible sheep over and over maybe. I don't know. That's,
Well, given the fact that it's just, a very few amount of people doing this, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of redundancy. If
yeah.
any, we have challenges being faithful and constant, and we can become weary and we can become, a little troubled with being faithful. And I'm certainly guilty of that. Sometimes if I'm going out and I know I'm going somewhere, I'm like, oh, should I wear the shirt? Well, I think I got this business meeting today or something. I don't know, should I wear it? You know, we're all thinking about what's appropriate, and sometimes we can miss out on a great opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you though. Thanks for taking my call again.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. Does anyone else have anything before we close? All right. Well, thank you again for joining another Enduring to the End. There are so many things I actually wanted to share. Lord willing, after the Day in the Word, on the next program, we can talk about things like how do we start engaging with people in a different way. I think we touched base on that just a little bit with Miss Beatrice and the table. I think we're going to start to, engage more and more with people. So, um, Mr. Osvaldo, if you can hear me, could you please close us in a word of prayer, if you can? If you can unmute. I'm gonna hit the button that should be on your screen. Let's give it a try. I hit the button that says ask to unmute. So hopefully you should just see it like right on your screen if possible. If not, we'll give you another 15 seconds. If you have a loved one, maybe they can help you, sir. This might be the new bad dream where you have a dream where someone's asking you to unmute and you can't do it.
How about you ask Gary Hawaii? He's got his.
Oh, he got it.
Got it.
You
Okay.
got it, Waldo.
Okay. Lord God, we come to your presence, Lord, and to give you thanks for everything that you do for us, Lord. Thank you to put it in our hearts to give our tracts, visit other countries, fellowship with our brothers and sisters, Lord. That's a great privilege that you give us daily, oh Lord, to do. I just came from Argentina, from El Paso. I had a great time speaking to other people about the gospel, but they don't understand what you're trying to say in the Bible. But at least I had the pleasure to be with them and talk about the scriptures, whatever you have to say into it. And the first thing they say to you, oh Lord, why is the world so divided? And I was sharing a track, and Lord, I asked the person, do you have a family? And they say, yes. Do you get along with them? No, we always arguing. So I said to them, Lord, Lord, the world is so divided in the family, they don't even believe, about the gospel. They're so involved in their own life and you tell them about the Bible, they don't even want to read it. Lord, but thank you for the trip that you gave me to go to El Paso to visit there, and this past week. And I'm still here in El Paso. Hopefully tomorrow, if God willing, I'll be able to go on and give some more tracks. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. That's great, Mr. Osvaldo, that you're in El Paso, 100-degree weather. May God keep you safe. You got muted again, but and all of you folks that are going to be tracting or around and about this week, may God strengthen you and encourage you. And perfect love casts out fear. Could it be that God's perfect love would be in us and cast out the fear of man's faces as we sojourn with 7 years and 7 months to go and counting as we live in the last days? Could it be that all of us here, God would strengthen and encourage us living in this day of judgment during these last days? And for folks that didn't get a chance to, talk about something, could it be that you would be encouraged as well? Some of you that are not doing well physically, um, or even in other challenges, financially and others, that God would provide you with comfort as we get closer and closer to the end, that we may endure. Take care, everyone, and may God bless you.